Hello, dear listeners. My name is Kishore Ganesh, and in episode 9 of the Vocal About Visuals podcast, I will be analyzing my most favorite Detective Conan movie yet, The Phantom of Baker Street. Let's see if the new Conan movie that's coming out this week, The Scarlet Bullet, will make me change my mind and become my favorite. And without any further delay, let's get straight into the pod. Honestly speaking, I gravitated a lot towards this movie, and when I say gravitated, I mean with the same intensity of one celestial body being drawn to another thanks to an immense force of attraction. This is thanks primarily to one line from Haibara, in which she basically drops the dynastic structure of Japanese elite society on the mat. I was taken aback by the way the movie suddenly got way real thanks to the sequence in which Haibara's line appears. Here I was expecting another Conan mystery movie, and instead I get social commentary of the highest quality, which mind you will reach and inform upcoming generations of Japanese youth and inspire them to ask similar questions. With this one sequence, I would say the Detective Conan franchise grew up almost instantaneously. Conan and gang brought attention to an issue that is in and of the real world, and not one that is bound by fiction. I think the anime series does allude to real world scenarios, but as far as the movies are concerned, this is a first, and the newness doesn't stop there. The movie begins, mind you, this is a children's movie, with a suicide. Now, I'm not saying kids should be shielded from the entire concept of suicide and hence this is a bad movie for them. Kids know of these kind of dark concepts in a removed manner pretty early on, which is a good thing if you ask me. And the way this movie tackles it is also in a very not in your face manner. It is handled delicately and nothing graphic is shown on screen. But if you look at it with a mature mindset, you realize that this movie literally starts off with a child's suicide. A child that is driven to suicide by loneliness, greed, and that is heart-wrenching. The writers have dealt with such a heavy topic with great grace, and I truly applaud them for that. This is yet another way in which the movie weaves in real issues like isolation, loneliness, the importance of a childhood, and greed into the narrative, making this not just another mystery movie of the franchise. And that's not all. This movie is an homage to the greatest detective of them all, Sherlock Holmes. The movie brilliantly juxtaposes the lives of many kids who get to enjoy their childhood and one kid who just couldn't. Add to this, Conan gets to live out his dream of working with his hero and inspiration Sherlock Holmes himself to solve the mystery, which is just marvelous, but is also in stark contrast to the life of another child who could almost never do anything that he loved. Sounds tragic, doesn't it? Coming to the characters, what can I say but every character is brilliant. There isn't one badly written character in this movie. Even Ran is surprisingly well written, even if at the end she is somehow always made into a damsel in distress that is constantly looking to Shinichi for guidance. This despite the fact that she's the one who actually brings the brawn to the fight against the villains, because well, Conan is a 7-year-old child. Moving on to Conan, the main man, he is in fine form in this film. Humanity, grace, intelligence, a never say die attitude, everything that you would expect from a hero is written brilliantly into the Conan character, and he knocks it out of the park. His father, Kudo Yusaku, also makes an appearance in the movie along with the regular cast, and he kills it as well. Haibara especially stands out among the detective boys thanks to her takedown that I mentioned before. That said, the role that the detective boys play in this movie is both touching and heroic, and you develop an increased sense of appreciation and respect for them. Without spoiling the movie, I would like to say that there is more than one villain in this story. How many villains are there? Is there also an anti-hero among the villains? These questions will be answered once you watch the movie. The most obvious villain of the story is Thomas Schindler. He is a complex character who has multiple motivations which evolve over time, and these drive him to commit multiple crimes at different points in the film. At the end, when his time of reckoning comes, you actually do understand his point of view. You don't agree with them? No. But you do get why he did what he did. The next villain, or is he, I'm going to speak of is someone who you will recognize as soon as you watch the movie, but whose name will remain a secret on this podcast to avoid spoilers. Now that I've said the disclaimer, let me present my analysis. This character is probably the most beautifully written character of the movie. The pathos of it, combined with the details that are revealed in the climax of the film, make it one of the most heart-wrenching, pathetic, and memorable characters of not just this film, but the entire franchise. Truly, one of the best characters to feature in the Conan universe. Finally, like I mentioned before, all the other characters, Professor Agasa, the police personnel, the spoilt brats, the father of the kid who commits suicide, all of them are written excellently and are complementary to the main storyline. Before I jump into the final segment, I would like to add a thought that I missed out earlier. In addition to all the things I've mentioned so far, this movie is also a father-son story. This movie juxtaposes the story of one father-son duo who are there for each other, who love each other, who are each other's support system, and who understand each other and their respective situations perfectly. And another father-son duo where circumstances have not let them be there for each other. A loving, beautiful relationship is placed side by side with a relationship that could never blossom owing to ill-fated circumstances. Basically, the beauty of one relationship makes you appreciate the missed opportunity and tragic nature of the second one. Wow, what a movie. And these are not even the only father-son duos that are there in the film. There are others that are showcased briefly, as are their differing dynamics. By the way, the first duo is Conan and his father. The others, I'm sure, you will figure out once you watch the movie. On the whole, if you have not managed to figure out what my verdict on this movie would be from the rest of the podcast, well, you haven't actually been listening. But jokes aside, this is the best Conan movie I've seen so far, and I have indeed seen all of them. This is the biggest compliment I can give to a movie from a franchise that has more epic movies than average ones. The storyline, the Holmes homage, the characters especially, the multiple villains. Oh, by the way, I have not spoken about all of them because mentioning certain characters tends to spoil the entire movie. The relationships that are showcased, and finally, the humanity and emotions that the writers have injected into, within quotes, a kid's mystery movie, end quote, make this not only a recommendation from me, but a downright plea to anyone who is a Conan fan, an anime fan, a mystery fan, a Holmes fan, and even someone who is just open to new visual art forms and stories. Once again, my name is Kishore Ganesh. This is the Vocal About Visuals podcast, and thank you for your time and for listening.